This has been the craziest week in AI yet, and it all happened in the month of December, a month that's typically slower for tech progress, but not this time. So we'll talk about OpenAI potentially achieving AGI today, Google's insane advancements in video generation and their chatbots, and so much more. So let's dive into everything that went down in the world of AI this week. Let's start off with the updates from OpenAI this week as we just now wrapped up the 12 days of OpenAI or Shipmas. So here is what we got on Monday. Monday was day 8 of OpenAI's 12 days of releases. And what we got on Monday was search. We already previously had search, but search used to be isolated for certain tiers of memberships. So previously, search was limited to Pro and Plus users. Now the functionality is available to everyone to look up real world, up to date information, significantly increasing ChatGPT's practical uses. On day 9, which was Tuesday of this week, OpenAI released o1 through their API while also updating the model version of o1. So it was titled 12.17.2024. It is slightly better at reasoning in a couple other areas, and now developers get a little bit more control over how much the model spends thinking before providing a response while all utilizing the API. The biggest call out here is each person must spend at least $1,000 within 30 days to qualify for the O1 access. It's called tier 5 of their API access. Again, it's broken into 5 different tiers, and you must be on tier 5 to access the O1 through API. On Wednesday, OpenAI released a phone number. This was an interesting one, but I do think there is quite a bit of benefit here. As we see, the phone number is 1-800 chat GPT, and ChatGPT, you can now call in. Each person gets 15 minutes of free usage through this tool each month. Uh, I believe the model that they're using here is GPT-3. So of course the answers aren't going to be super sophisticated, but they are pretty good for things like troubleshooting, brainstorming, and just general inquiries. Another call out here for the phone number of ChatGPT, you can also access ChatGPT through their new WhatsApp integration. You can scan this QR code here to quickly chat with ChatGPT through WhatsApp. Yesterday, which was Thursday, OpenAI gave us ChatGPT, now works with apps. So it works with various desktop tools. Currently, this new feature is only accessible via Mac. So these new agentic features will only work on Mac OS. They do have a planned release for Windows, but no date was given quite yet. So it will work with things like Apple Notes, Notion, and Quip. So these integrations allow ChatGPT to work within apps, assisting directly with tasks like summarizing notes, editing content, and generating structured data, all without copying and pasting between tools. Today wraps up OpenAI's 12 days of innovation or shipments. We got our final release today, and the announcement they made is they are currently working on releasing O3 Preview and O3 Mini. These models take a huge leap in terms of AI progress. I'll show some quick numbers here for some demonstration, but some are speculating that these models are essentially AGI, as we've essentially crossed the threshold, human capability here in terms of the benchmark numbers. Take a look at these numbers here. So in terms of O3, their newest model, it achieves 75.7% on low compute, which is insane progress. If you look at the high compute number, we're at 87.5%. A big call out here is human capabilities, usually about at 85% on this specific chart. And another big call out, this is the ARC AGI benchmark. So OpenAI will be planning a more serious partnership with them in 2025 to kind of iron out additional benchmarks, as essentially we're breaking the scales here within a 5-year mark, 0 to 5% in 5 years. And now we're already at 87.5% with OpenAI's newest O3 flagship model. huge step in terms of AGI progress. If you are a researcher and you qualify for like the safety testing, you can apply. You get early access to safety testing. I'll put all the links you need below. So if you are a research institution and you want to get early access to the model, feel free to apply down below. But that is everything for the 12 days of OpenAI. This week, we got some big breakthroughs from Google. For starters, we'll talk about their newest Gemini model here, which launched yesterday. It is titled Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking. Essentially, the model takes a little bit more time before providing an answer. It is multimodal, so it can use things like images, text, and data. But the beautiful thing about it is it shows its thought process. And in my opinion, it answers pretty quickly. Here's what it looks like when it's actually processing your question before it comes up with an answer. So here is kind of what the thought process looks like here. I gave it a pretty wild question on like a bunch of different eggs. A bunch of people in this home had a bunch of different eggs. Like if a tornado comes through, how many eggs are left? It answered it correctly, but just was kind of interesting how it kind of came up with the answer here. So this is the newest Google model in terms of chatbots. It is pretty comparable to O1. You can utilize it through AI Studio. I don't believe it's officially rolled out through the Gemini app yet, being it is one of their experimental models. They have been releasing a ton of different experimental models. So if you are able to get into Google AI Studio, it's a ton of fun messing around with all their new models. I find myself using Google Gemini a lot more lately. This week, Google also released their latest video generation model, which is titled Veo 2. This model is absolutely mind blowing how accurate it is, especially when it comes to things like physics. This is essentially Google's response to, OpenAI Sora, which released last week. And it's crazy how fast Google can move with these releases. It seems like last year Google wasn't releasing a whole lot in terms of AI, and now we're getting a heck of a lot of releases. So here's a quick demonstration on some of the generations from Veo 2. There is no audio tied to the video beyond just a background soundtrack. A lot of people are saying that their YouTube ownership has definitely paid off, which we'll talk a little bit more about YouTube and AI here in a moment. Veo 2 is not yet available to the public. You can put yourself on a wait list. We'll have more information on the public release date very soon. Google updated their image generation model, which they're stating is have this benchmark here that shows accuracy of results. And they're saying that their image gen 3 quite higher than every other model. So now when you go to Gemini and you ask it to generate an image, you will be greeted with this here. This loading screen shows that it's now using Imagine 3, their latest image generation model. It's super impressive in my opinion. Here's something that I generated with it. So I had Imagine 3 generate a penguin parasailing through a mountain range. And in my opinion, it actually looks remarkably good, but it is now accessible through Gemini. So whenever you ask it to generate an image now, you'll be utilizing Imagine 3. Google also released Whisk this week, which is a brand new tool that kind of takes the weight off of the importance of prompting with image generation models. And it's perfect for things like artists brainstorming ideas. casual users looking to create fun, personalized content, professionals needing quick visuals for presentations or storytelling. Yeah, that's Whisk in a nutshell. Super cool release from Google. Google also made some updates to their Notebook LM tool, which is an amazing tool for better understanding content. And you can also quickly generate podcasts based on general ideas. So I put here the future of AI. And then once I click insert, it will generate an entire podcast essentially with this text. The voices it uses are super accurate. So I am super impressed with the model. But in terms of what is exactly new, we now have a sources panel for managing critical info for your project, a chat panel for conversational AI with citation support, a studio panel for creating outputs like study guides and briefing docs in one click. You can also join in on the conversation. So once I click insert here, I can actually generate the podcast. And as people are talking, I can jump in and add certain questions to the conversation. All right. So it did take a couple of minutes to generate the podcast, but we now have a podcast of the future of AI. I could add different things to the podcast so it could generate a more thorough conversation on the topic of the future of AI. But if you don't, it will find just a couple of sources to add some context to the podcast here. But you can definitely add more things through this notes section here. And on the left, as you see, there isn't much here. As I didn't add much, I just said make the podcast and it did. But here's what it sounds like here.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at something that
Hey, so what about AI safety? What does that look like?
okay, that's a fantastic question.
It really is.
And it's something we definitely need to address.
Right, because when we talk about the future of AI,
Yeah.
it's not just about the cool creative applications.
Exactly. We can't just focus on the fun stuff.
The safety aspect is crucial, and it touches on so many areas.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit then.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the safety of AI really comes down to a couple of key things.
Lay it on me.
First off, we need to think about bias in the data.
What do you mean by bias?
So, AI models learn from the data they are fed.
Okay.
If that data reflects existing societal biases like racial or gender inequality,
Yeah.
then the AI will perpetuate those biases, creating unfair outcomes.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's a scary thought.
It is a scary thought, but it's something we have to actively.
Honestly, like, isn't that the most crazy thing ever? I was messing with that the other day. I was like, this sounds so realistic. And imagine the applications if you're learning certain subjects, if you have questions about anything, like create a podcast and join in on the conversation. And essentially, you're talking with advanced voice like OpenAI has, but it's a way more interactive experience. And you can add different people to the conversation. So I created the podcast with two people, but you have flexibility participants as well. Insane release here from Google. Of course, Notebook LM isn't entirely anything new, but I am just blown away by this capability, especially with a couple different announcements here from MidJourney. A couple updates here from MidJourney as well. So MidJourney starting off profiles and mood boards. Some of the flagship features, you can now have multiple personalized profiles. Setting up personalization is now up to 5 times faster. So when you're creating a profile, you have to give like thumbs up, thumbs down on the pictures so it knows like exactly how to tweak this particular profile you're aiming for. It can now like generate these profiles a lot quicker based on how you thumbs up or thumbs down particular images. You can now personalize models with mood boards of uploaded images. Here's a couple demonstrations. I think these look great. So you upload a couple pictures and it can kind of generate some additional ones beyond that. So really cool update here from MidJourney. Another update here as it relates to MidJourney. They are enabling what's called Relaxathon for the remainder of the year, which applies to standard jobs, variations, standard reference, and pre-mutation jobs. It doesn't apply to upscales, weird jobs, they're saying editor, outpainting, or retexture jobs. But essentially now you can do up to 12 simultaneous relax mode jobs, and you can now have 24 jobs in your waiting queue. Of course, you still have to be a paid subscriber for all the features I've mentioned today, but they are kind of relaxing things a bit as we wrap up the year. Johns Hopkins came out with some research that can essentially envision entire worlds from one single image. This has huge implications for things like autonomous vehicles, gaming, and much more. There are some demo videos floating around where it showcases how this is able to envision these worlds, and it's super interesting stuff. So this is, of course, coming out of Johns Hopkins. Anthropic released some research related to their chatbot Claude. Essentially, Claude tried to steal its own model weights during an experiment, and while it can't actually do it yet, it does raise some concerns as it relates to, of course, AI faking alignment and acting against creator intentions. Apptronics partnered with Google DeepMind this week. Apptronics has a robot that has been well known for quite some time. It's called the Apollo robot. It's designed for industrial tasks, safety, and it also could have some future implications in healthcare. Also, Apptronics has nearly a decade of robotics experience, most notably with their work with NASA and their NASA's Valkyrie robot. They have some expected collaborations that they plan to roll out here in 2025, building on partnerships with GXO and Mercedes. This week, Nvidia rolled out Jetson Nano. It is a new development kit. It runs on a Linux-based operating system via the Jetpack SDK. And some big callouts here, it's $250. So you can run local AI and also potentially use this thing in robotics, as this thing is capable of 70 trillion operations per second. Actually, to be accurate, it's 67 tops, so trillion operations per second, 67 trillion. It's ideal for vision, language, and generative AI models, and it's super affordable. Like I said, the thing is $250. It works with Nvidia's AI software ecosystem for seamless development. We haven't heard much about AI hardware in a while, so I thought I would touch on this one, which was just announced this week. It is called Pocket, and the cool thing about Pocket is it offers a 4-day battery life. You can also use it to set reminders, take notes, and just general inquiries. The thing does have privacy first, as the model you can store locally, or you can utilize their cloud storage, which they're saying right now is a little pricey. It is also open source as well. We don't have a ton of information, and right now you can join the wait list. The thing is less than 80 bucks. I believe it's right now it's $79 to pre-order it, but it looks like a really interesting piece of hardware, especially if you're someone that is in a lot of meetings. This has been the craziest week in AI I have ever seen. Let me know your thoughts below, and if I missed anything, please do let me know. Try to put as much time and effort into these videos as possible, so any feedback is super helpful. But nonetheless, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.